So it's like if you take pakoda means from distance you can just see the site. Like pakoda has all the features. Like it has means it appeals to all senses. Its sight means it has a form and it has a fragrance. Then it has a touch. Then it has also taste and it, yeah. So all are there. And when one eats, there is also a sound. So all senses are there. But when somebody is far from that pakoda, only one can see the only the form. But as one goes near, then the fragrance can be experienced. So, and then one eats it, then one can experience the taste. So like that, then the touch is also there, the softness and all as one touches and like that. So in the same way, as one goes more near to the absolute truth, one will experience more of the potencies of the absolute truth. So Brahman means one is not so intimate with the absolute truth. Paramatma is more intimate, and Bhagavan is the most intimate association with the absolute truth. So one will experience all the features, Satchit and Anand, like that. Yeah. So this is a definition of by Sri Jiva Goswami in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. So it's a very long, means just to understand like how, because we are studying how the Bhagavan form is complete or the absolute truth is complete. So just to make some sense of it. So what Jiva Goswami writes is, he who is the very form of existence, consciousness and bliss, who possesses inconceivable, multifarious and unlimited energies that are of his own nature, who is the ocean of unlimited, mutually contradictory qualities, such that in him both the attribute and the possessor of attributes, the lack of differences and varieties of differences, formlessness and form, pervasiveness and centrality, all are true, whose beautiful form is distinct from both gross and subtle entities, self-luminous and consisting entirely of his own nature, who has unlimited such forms that are manifested by his chief form called Bhagavan, whose left side is beautified by Lakshmi, the manifestation of his personal energy, suitable to his own form, who resides in his own abode, along with his associates, who are furnished with a form that is a special manifestation of his own splendor, who astonishes the hosts of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in the self, by his wonderful qualities, pastimes, etc., which are characterized by the play of his personal energy, whose own generic brilliance is manifested in the form of the reality of Brahman, who is the sole shelter and life of his marginal energy called the living entities, Jivas, whose mere reflected energy are the qualities of nature, gunas, visible in the unlimited phenomenal world. He is Bhagavan. Yeah. So this is an elaborate form. We will not get into details. It is beyond the scope of this book. But so in this way, there is lot of details of Bhagavan, and that shows also his completeness. But we'll briefly study some aspects here. If you see Bhagavan, he's all attractive, he's all merciful, all attractive means like he's not attractive just to human beings, but to all species. Like Krishna, like even the cows were attracted, even the deer were attracted, even the birds were attracted, the bees were attracted. So he's all attractive, and he's all merciful. He's merciful not just to pious people, but to impious people, to fallen people, to his devotees. So again, and all contradictions are resolved, and he can resolve all contradictions, and in him all contradictions are also like form and formlessness. He's formless as Brahman, but his form as Bhagavan. So like that, there are different contradictions. In yeah, we are going to study also in the fourth and fifth shloka how different contradictions are resolved in Bhagavan. Like he's simultaneously in one place, but he's all over the place as Paramatma. So like that, there are different contradictions. And he's omnipotent. He's omnipotent. He can do anything. He can lift Govardhan with no finger, with the little finger of his left hand. So and is omnipresent. He's present everywhere. Like when Draupadi was praying to him, he could hear and immediately come there. He's omniscient. He is conscious of the desires of the jivas. So that way, these are some features of Bhagavan, but yeah, more are there. So like Narsimha example, if you see all contradictions, like Hiranyakashipu asked for he should not be killed by a man, he should not be killed by an animal. So Narasimhadev came in as half lion, half man, half human, and he told he should not be killed by weapons, or he should not be killed by flesh. But so yeah, he was killed. He was Narasimhadev used nails, which are like dead, which are neither fully matter or fully flesh. So and he should not be killed in the daytime or night. So he was killed at the Sandhya time. Should not be killed inside or outside. So he was killed at the doorstep. So like that, all contradictions were resolved. So this is about Bhagavan. So how Bhagavan is complete. Purnamidam. Now we will study Purnamada. Sorry, it's Purnamada. Now this is Purnamidam. Purnamidam is referring to the our material world, phenomenal world. Mataji, you can read this. Thus, this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Purnamidam. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. Shall I continue,
Yeah,
Prabhuji?
continue.
The universe functions on its own time scale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is complete, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete whole.
Okay, thank you. So we will study how there is a lot of perfection and how there is a lot of fine tuning in this material world. So first we will see a video which shows about the human body, how the body is very intricate and very designed with very intricate perfection.
The human body is one piece of testimony for Allah's art of creation. Both the inside and outside of our body includes endless evidence for believing in Allah. We can easily see the excellence of Allah's work just by looking at the outer appearance of the human body. The symmetry of the human body requires 2 arms, 2 legs, a body and a head. This symmetry is made up of perfect ratios. Every human being has a body which is 8 times as large as the head. Our faces are 3 times as long as our noses. The distance between our 2 eyes is the size of another eye. The ratio between our arms and legs was calculated in the best way possible. The human body is the most perfect machine in the world, and just like any machine, it displays the knowledge and capability of the power that designed it. The inside of the human body, too, is full of wonders. The human brain is made up of, on average, 10 billion nerve cells. These cells are connected to each other with 100 trillion connections. Now, the number 1 trillion is far beyond our comprehension. To get a better grasp of how large this number really is, let's try to think of a giant region which is 30 times as large as England. If we assume that the whole of this area is covered with trees and that each tree has 10,000 leaves on it, then the total number of leaves across this entire region is equal to the number of nerve connections in our brain. All these messages traveling to and from the brain travel at the staggeringly high speed of 320 kilometers per hour. The nerves between your brain cells and the rest of your body are like express highways used to convey information between the body and the brain. In short, our bodies are witness to a breathtakingly busy traffic each and every moment of our lives. Thousands of individual messages come and go between the body and the brain in the space of a single second. Between 100,000 to 1 million chemical reactions take place in our brains in just 1 minute. Even as you sit and watch this film, hundreds of messages are being shuttled between your brains and muscles with each thousandth of a second that passes by. These messages include information about what you're seeing. You're leaning backwards as you sit. You're understanding what you watch. The beating of your heart. Your breathing. The blinking of your eyes, your hair growing, you're picking up smells, and your hearing. You would have to write out pages and pages of chemical formulas if you wanted to explain just one of these functions. Just one mistake in these formulas would have caused your body to lose its balance. You could have poked your fingers in your eyes while combing your hair, or stumbled and fallen while trying to walk. However, Allah has created man in such excellence that we can perform the most complicated tasks flawlessly. In return, we should give thanks to Allah for creating us.
Yeah, so we see that how the body is so perfectly made that even the most complicated things like thinking, processing, and all, digesting food, all these things are carried out very seamlessly and flawlessly without our knowledge. But if that has to be replicated outside, it needs lot of thinking and lot of thought process and very lot of complex things. So that shows how it's a complete thing, because as it is shown in the video, even if one thing goes wrong, then the body will not do the work it is supposed to do. But it has been, at least a body goes on for on an average 70 years, 80 years. So that happens. Okay, so you can now, so we have laws of karma, which are working as per as created by Krishna, and we have laws of this world. So you can think like how the laws of karma are perfect and complete, whereas laws of this world are incomplete. Similarly, universal government of the demigods and the local governments. And also the Vedic science and the modern science. Vedic science, modern science, we saw a little bit about yesterday. For example, if you see laws of karma and laws of the world, uh, laws of the world there are loopholes. Criminals can escape punishment, etc. But in laws of karma, no one can escape. So like this, you can think, can take around 7 minutes. Then we will discuss. So basically the differences. Okay, so for the first question, someone wants to answer. Can raise your hand. Okay. Yes, Mahadev Kishore Prabhu can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. The laws of karma and laws of this world. The laws of karma is very strict and it has to be applicable to every living entity. But
Okay.
sometimes laws of this world is not applicable to every living entity.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, someone else. Yes, Radhika Gopika Mataji can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. So I was writing an example like if there is a thief or a murderer, then because of laws of karma, he will always get reaction to that.
Yeah.
But in the law of this world, he may escape and they may not be able to catch him.
Okay, okay. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I was saying in case of laws of karma, we don't need anybody to witness. But in case of the worldly laws, we need witness, we need proof, we need evidence for everything which we are doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, in laws of karma also there are witnesses, but they are there always. Like, and they're foolproof, like it is there. Okay, thank you. Is Sandeep Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I think similar points, but use different words. For example, I've written that the laws of karma is perfect, subtle, long-term, proven, whereas laws of world are manipulative, progressive. They are trying to evolve, but progressive they are, but not really perfect and open for manipulation. Depends on the intentions of the people who are making. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yes. Okay, so maybe others can answer the other questions. What are they? Okay, we will see the answers at last. Okay, now for second question, so in that sense, we can see how the laws of karma are more complete and perfect compared to the laws of this world. Yeah. So now, yeah, universal government versus local government. Okay, Aman Prabhu can answer.
The universal government is based on actual karmas and mercy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on a transcendental platform.
Okay.
And the local government is changing always, and
okay.
We might have all sorts of people without qualification.
Okay, okay. Fine, thank you. Yeah, the most competent and able people are there in the universal government. Yes, okay. Okay, any other points? Anyone else? Okay, Balraj Prabhu. Your voice, you're not muted. You can unmute. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes. Please tell.
Yes. So the universal government is actually applicable for the entire universe. It basically administrates the entire universe and all the people and the things around the universe.
Yeah.
But the local government, the jurisdiction is just local, and that's why, the local government, in terms of my local government, the place that I'm staying, local government might have different rules and regulations compared to the other space, compared to the other state.
Yeah.
So that keeps on changing. But the universal government, like the rain is pouring for everyone, even for animals, like for me. So that's how it is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there may be bias, but with local government. Yeah, like we saw in Bangladesh, the government is biased towards a particular religion, etc. So like that, some problems will be there. Even also applies with the laws of this world also. Okay. Yes. Tejashri Mataji, want to answer?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. With universal government, you cannot do any kind of cheating. but you can cheat local government and make fool.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, now for the last point, Vedic science versus modern science. No one wants to answer. Okay. Yes, Swati Mataji can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. So modern science, it is based on human senses and hence it is imperfect.
Okay.
Then it is, if it is not senses, then it is based on the measuring instruments that human himself has
Yeah.
researched and developed.
Yeah.
And they have no answer for many questions like the origin of universe. But
Okay.
Vedic science has answers for all of these.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So we will take from others. Thank you. Next. Who else? Okay. Anish Prabhu can answer.
Yes, so Vedic, the modern science, the theories keep changing. Like the atomic models, they have changed it hundreds of times. But the Vedic science and philosophy is constant 5,000 years ago, today also, and it will be
Okay.
constant.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Mahadev Keshav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. See, I will give them an example. The example of the electricity.
Yeah.
In Vedic science, there is only electricity in daytime. Means it is coming from the sun only, and it is a very human form of life is utilizing for the only spiritual purposes. But now, because of the electricity, the human is working in day, nights, and any time. This is a disadvantage. I just wanted to.
Thank you. So yeah, the modern science does not have proper understanding of how one can be happy and how to facilitate it. Yeah. Vedic science is more harmonious with it. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so we'll just see the answers. Yes, Swati Mata, you want to say something? Okay, we'll take no problem. So yeah. Change loopholes. Yeah, there may be partiality. Yeah, I think we covered. Yeah, we covered more or less all points. Yeah, the modern science is based on superficial thing. And yes, Rajpati Gopinath Prabhu, Mataji, you want to tell something? You want to add something? Hare Krishna. Question. Okay. Okay, now we saw that how this world, we saw how the different aspects of Lord's creation with respect to this material world, they are perfect and complete. But now let's say if someone okay, it is always there. Like now if someone challenges, no, the earth does not have sufficient resources, so then like that some people also ask, no, why rain falls on sea. So like this, if some people challenges, what we should reply, like because they may say that no, the earth is not, that's why it is incomplete, the God's creation is incomplete because it does not have sufficient resources, like that.
So I think the answer is simple, that resources are sufficient. It's the utilization of the resources, how we do, and the greed that the humankind has, and which is proven anyway.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah, good answer. Okay, who else is wants to answer? Okay, anyone else wants to answer?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Actually, when we exploit the resources around the world, And that's when, like, the laws of nature acts on us and the resources become
Yeah.
limited for our usage.
Okay.
So
Yeah, good answer taken. So okay, yeah. So whenever we tell something is complete, we have to define with respect to a particular thing, with respect to what it is complete. So the completeness of the world is defined with respect to its purpose. So the purpose is, like here Prabhupada also told that it produces everything necessary for the maintenance and subsistence. So maintenance and subsistence of the human life, the earth has everything. But for the sense enjoyment, it will not have everything, because that is greed, because that is not the purpose of this world. The purpose of this world is to supply the basic necessities of the human beings and facilitate them to achieve liberation or going back to Godhead, whatever you can say. So because if the purpose is clear, then we can define how, we can explain how the world is complete with it. So initially, even in the Western civilization also, the happiness in this world and the happiness that one can get by going to the other world, like the spiritual world, they are seen together. So then this completeness of the world is no more understood properly. And also they have also the concept of reincarnation. But at some point of time, by a Roman emperor, I think it's Constantinople, so he told to remove the concept of reincarnation. So then, so means earlier people were understood, okay, even if my condition is not proper, but if I do some proper action, if I do the right action, then in future it can become proper. If not in this life, next life. But when the concept of reincarnation is removed, then what it became, it's like life means this is the only life one has. So one has to, whatever happiness one can get, only one has to do here. So that way the completeness concept is that that it got corrupted, it got misunderstood. Then after that Renaissance, at the time of Renaissance in medieval Europe, so then they rejected religion, like because religion is dogmatic, it is not logical, it is sentimental. So then then the conception of spiritual happiness is only rejected. So only conception of material happiness became more important, and that too in this life, in with this world. So that became, so then the people thought, no, this world is incomplete, we have to do something. Like here Prabhupada wrote, no, the sentence that there is, yeah, no other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. So but they thought, no, we should do something, we should. So then they thought, then they started making this industries and all, and greed and all, it has become. Yeah, then they wanted to explore space, other planets in the space, because the earth will fall, is insufficient, and all these things. They want to have artificial rains, etc. So that's why like the Vedic model, the communist thought, no, this is discrimination and all. They want to have communism. They want to make a classless society. So like that, slowly, people lost faith in the Vedic model, and they went to the materialistic side. Slowly, it gradually happened. They thought that it's incomplete life in this world. This world is incomplete like that. Okay. Okay. Mataji, you can read this. All facilities.
Yes, Prabhuji. All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being, and it is obtained after evolving through 8,400,000 species of life in the cycle of birth and death. If in this human life of full consciousness, the living entity does not realize his completeness in relation to the complete whole, he loses the chance to realize his completeness and is again put into the evolutionary cycle by the law of material nature.
Okay, thank you. So first we will discuss this first sentence. All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. Yeah. So if you see, Krishna has provided the facility in form of majorly the three paths of yoga. There is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and there is Bhakti Yoga. Of course, Ashtanga Yoga, you can say four paths, which you will study in Bhagavad Gita. But all so if you see, all of these are, they are eternal processes. They were applicable in Satya Yuga and they were also applicable in Kali Yuga. They were applicable throughout. It's so yeah. Now in Kali Yuga, it may be little difficult to perform Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga or Karma Yoga, but it also works, and it is unaffected by material factors. It's not like if there is a recession, no, you cannot practice bhakti. It's unaffected by the material changes. It's not if one has COVID or something, one cannot practice bhakti. It's applicable always because it is under the control of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. And everyone can practice. Everyone means bhakti yoga, everyone can at any stage one can begin it. But other forms of yoga, they have some prerequisites. Like Jnana Yoga, one has to be renounced. Ashtanga Yoga also one has to be renounced. And Karma Yoga, one has to be in goodness to perform like that. But, and these are scientific processes. Means there is a step-by-step knowledge of how one can proceed and progress in the paths. So like that, so in that way, there is all facilities are there to realize the complete whole in this material world. And yeah, it's not like an IT company which will get closed or something. It is always eternal. And there is also facility in form of the knowledge, the Vedic knowledge, Shastras are given. And there are sadhus who can provide inspiration and guidance to form this, to do these paths, to do this yoga, this four types of yogas. And then there are tirthas, holy rivers, temples, where one can perform these processes. So that way there is complete facility. Then Prabhupada is also talking about the human form of life, the importance of human form of life. So there is one, how it is one of the best means. So here this shloka tells that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, expanding his own potency, Maya Shakti, created innumerable species of life to house the conditioned souls. Yet by creating the forms of trees, reptiles, animals, birds, snakes, and so on, the Lord was not satisfied within his heart. Then he created human life, which offers the conditioned soul sufficient intelligence to perceive the absolute truth, and he became pleased. So human form of life is especially complete because because through human form of life one can perfect his life and go back to Godhead or achieve liberation, etc. Yeah, now we'll discuss about the incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. So there are different levels of incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. So one is atheism, which says no, there is no God, God cannot exist. So another is deism. Yeah, God may be there, God might have created the universe, but I don't care about God. I don't need God. God is not actually maintaining the universe, but no, we have to maintain, like nature is maintaining like that. Then another is like mixed devotional piety, like there is God, but God is there, so whatever we want we can ask him and he will supply to us. But then there is devotional service, like I need only God, means if I have God and if I'm devoted to God, then that is sufficient to make me happy. So this is like pure devotional service. So these are different levels of lack of God consciousness. And we see there are many problems we can correlate how they are related to lack of God consciousness. So one is like the poverty, there is unequal distribution of wealth. If because lack of God consciousness, the people who are rich, they are not sufficiently charitable. They want to get more and more. So they exploit the poor people more and more. And the poor people, they are not content, because again, it is because of lack of God consciousness. They think that, okay, unless we become healthy, we can wealthy, we cannot become happy, and like that. So that's why the current status is that the richest 1% of the world's population own 45.8% of the global wealth, while the poorest 50% earn just 8% of the wealth. Now, another thing is because of bodily consciousness, because one doesn't know about God and one doesn't know that he's actually his Atma, he's not just the matter body. There is a lot of scarcity. So because of that, people think that the more and more one get comforts and luxuries and all, so one will be happy. So that's why there is scarcity in the world about with respect to water, with respect to pure air, like that, many things. So this is one video which shows how the fashion industry pollutes the water.
I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. It's the 24th of October 2021. We're just a week away from COP26. So here's a thought. Are you polluting the environment by wearing what you're wearing right now? Okay, let me rephrase this. Is your fashion sustainable? H&M swears its collection is conscious. Levi says you're helping the planet by wearing its jeans. H&M is offering a discount in exchange of recyclable clothes. In 2019, the search for sustainable fashion increased 75%. Brands were happy to oblige. So sustainable fashion became the new trend. Companies today are offering guilt-free fashion, ethical fashion, vegan fashion, recycled fashion, organic fashion, eco-friendly fashion, and of course, sustainable fashion. Zara says it will make its clothes 100% sustainable by 2025. H&M says a lot of its clothes are already sustainable and that it will run on 100% renewable energy by 2040. Prada says it is reusing plastic in its nylon backpacks. Adidas makes similar claims. Levi Strauss says it will soon cut greenhouse gas emission in the in-house facilities by 90%. Balenciaga claims to be eco-friendly. So does Burberry. Coach says it won't destroy unwanted merchandise anymore. Uniqlo has even appointed Doraemon as its sustainable ambassador. But here's the problem. Uniqlo is not Nobita. So how can Doraemon, the fictional Japanese cat, help Uniqlo achieve its sustainable goals? H&M says its collection is conscious, but it doesn't explain how the alternative materials are better for the earth. Also, where did H&M's conscience go when in 2019 it overproduced $4.3 billion worth of goods? What happened to them? Some of Zara's clothes have the Join Life tag. It is stamped by the Forest Stewardship Council. The problem is the stamp is just for the tag, which means the tag and only the tag is eco-friendly. When Chanel says it is climate conscious, it does not mean the clothes are harmless. It means it has committed $35 million to install solar panels in California to make up for its environmental sins. In 2018, Burberry destroyed $36.8 million worth of excess merchandise. Like I mentioned, Burberry claims to be an environment-conscious brand. Here's what the EU Commission found. 42% of green claims by companies are exaggerated, false, or deceptive. Fashion houses say they're sustainable without saying how. There's a word for this. It's called greenwashing, meaning distraction from the real issue. The real fact being fashion is inherently unsustainable. It emits greenhouse gases, uses a very large amount of water, and also pollutes the water. Did you know that it takes 594 gallons of water to make a single t-shirt? 594 gallons. That equals to 2,248.534 liters. That's the amount of water a person drinks in 2.5 years. How does a t-shirt need so much water? It takes 20,000 liters of water to make 1 kilo of cotton. 1 kilo of cotton is just about enough to make a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. The fashion industry uses 93 billion cubic meters of water every year. That's enough to fill 37 million Olympic swimming pools. In Uzbekistan, 50 years of cotton farming dried up the Aral Sea. Water is also needed to dye a piece of cloth. This synthetic water is then released into river streams and oceans. Where do the microplastics end up? In fish, and then it's served hot onto our plate. Let me also tell you about carbon emission. The fashion sector is responsible for 8 to 10% of the greenhouse gas emissions. That's more than the emissions of aviation and maritime shipping industries put together. What's more, there is also waste. Fashion produces 4% of global waste. Fast fashion is a threat to this planet. Zara adds new designs every 2 weeks. It puts at least 24 collections every year. H&M offers anything between 12 to 16 collections per year. Today, there are at least 5 fashion seasons. Back in 2000, there were just 2. Clothing production has doubled since the year 2000. In 2014, for example, people bought 60% more clothes than in 2000. But they kept those clothes for half as long. Fast fashion has become a mantra. Changing fashion is the new trend. Monograms are currently in. Not too long ago, they used to be tacky. One day neon is hot, the next day it's not. Square front heels were out 10 years ago. Today, everyone is wearing them all over again. Before you know it, they will be discarded again. Estimates say nearly 3/5 of all garments end up in incinerators within years of being made. 93 million tons of used clothes go to landfill every year. A lot of this is burned. How much is 93 million tons, you ask? Enough to fill a truck with clothes every second for 1 year. Can you imagine the scale? Also, that's enough to fill the Sydney harbour every year. The same designs return to the market within years. It no longer takes an era for puff sleeves to return. You no longer have to wait a decade for printed denims to become fashionable again. Can you save your clothes till then? Well, that's not an option either. Today, your clothes are designed to tear. Estimates say we purchase nearly 150 billion garments every year, 150 billion. The more the production, the worse the material. The cheaper the clothes, the more the pollution. Have you noticed how most of the clothes online today are polyester? That's because it's cheap, also extremely polluting. Polyester releases 2 to 3 times more carbon than cotton. It also does not break down in the ocean. Also, speaking of online, there are influencers on Instagram ready to sell you the latest trend. Every day, thousands of articles are schooling you on how to club a print with another. There is fashion police in every room. There is a dress code for every event. And this is the business model of fashion. It is designed to keep you shopping. Well, who pays the bills? The planet and you. 100 billion new garments hit the market every year. The production of apparel and footwear is expected to rise 81% by 2030. The world will then be producing 102 million tons of these fashion goods every year. The US apparel market is expected to be worth over $4 billion by 2028. The fashion houses will not stop. So should government step in and do something? Well, France has banned burning of surplus fashion goods. Canada has slapped carbon tax. Governments can regulate. They can stop the word sustainable from being abused. Governments can also spend on research and development of eco-friendly fashion. They can cap production because fashion houses just won't hit the brake. This is an industry that feeds on your insecurities, forces you to believe that it is impolite to repeat clothes. It bombards you with discounts, forces you to buy in excess. It already has you believing that fine clothes, an expensive bag, and the perfect shoes can make you a champion. A lot of them lie about being eco-friendly so that your shopping experience is also guilt-free. Well, this is marketing. The fashion industry knows that most of us are not even aware of our own carbon footprint, let alone taking time out to go check up on theirs or fact check their claims. Who has the time? The fashion industry knows that we will blindly pick a garment or a bag that reads organic, just like we pick a bag of organic vegetables over the regular variety. But you see, food labels are regulated in most countries. Sellers can be punished for falsely using the organic tag. But sustainable is not a regulated term. A fashion CEO will not land up in jail for selling normal cotton as organic.
Yeah, so as Prabhupada says that because of the incomplete knowledge of God, so that's why the people are more body conscious, and that's why they want to more fashion. As in the video it is being told that they make you feel insecure and give a hope that one can become secure by wearing new clothes, etc. So it is causing problem for many. Yeah. Okay. So yes, Anish Prabhu, yeah, some question.
No, Guruji, by mistake.
Okay, okay. Okay, Priya Mataji, can you read this? Because we don't know that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Because we do not know that there is a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance, we make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Because the living entity cannot enjoy the life of the senses without being dovetailed with the complete whole, the life of sense enjoyment is illusion. The hand of a body is a complete unit only as long as it is attached to the complete body. When it has none of the potencies of a hand. Similarly, living beings are part and parcel of the complete whole, and if they are severed from this complete whole, the illusory representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy them.
Yeah, thank you. So it is a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. So it has these features, like it gives endless hope that no, if only you become rich, no, you'll be happy, or no, if only you become you become fit, you'll be happy. If only you become famous in the social media, you become happy. So there is always endless hope, and it is glamorized. It is glamorized by all the so-called famous people. It is using all of them through advertisements and all. It is glamorized everywhere, in every between every WhatsApp message, between every Facebook message, between every YouTube video. So it is all everywhere. It is on their billboards. It is again in the TV. So everywhere it is advertised. So so in that way, it is grammarized and it gives a lot of hope. They show a lot of hope, but every time, like, there is always frustration. Even if somebody becomes rich, but he sees, no, there is somebody more richer than me, or so one may be afraid. Even if one becomes a billionaire or something, but he sees that no, there are more billionaires still going to become more billionaires, and they may overtake me. So one will always feel insecure. So always there is frustration. One may be rich but may not be handsome. We know, like, there is son of a rich person, but he's too obese. But so like that, there is always some no reason to get frustrated, even if somebody is so-called successful also. And and progressively it makes one more and more bodily conscious. One becomes more and more bereft of the knowledge of God. more and more one forgets God. So that way, one and one becomes more and more entangled also in this thing. So that way, this because of lack of knowledge of God, one thinks that this life of sense enjoyment makes one happy, but it makes one miserable, more and more miserable, and takes one more and more away from God, by which one can actually become happy. Yeah. Yeah. So we discussed about now the Purnamidam, means the material world, how it is complete. It is complete because it can provide for the sustenance needs, basic needs and sustenance of the living beings, and it has a perfect path. Means it has a perfect facility for the living beings to attain salvation and go back to Godhead. But we saw, like, because not understanding this thing, because of the incomplete knowledge of the complete whole, all forms of incompleteness are experienced. Incompleteness in terms of different problems. We saw the poverty, we saw the scarcity, and there is an illusion in terms of, by doing sense gratification one can be happy. So that we saw now. Okay. So in the next third and fourth lines, it is told like Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. That even though the complete world, the material world is a complete entity, even if it emanates from the Lord who is complete, Purnasya, but still the Lord remains complete. Generally, it is like, no, if we subtract 2 from 3, but only 1 remains. But what this shloka is telling is 3 minus 2, 2 also becomes 3. Like 1 minus 1 also is 1. So that is what it is telling. So that is because Krishna is unlimited. So even if something comes also, Krishna still remains unlimited. So we see that the people, one may go for, for getting happiness, like the parents, the government, they have limitations, with respect to space, time. Like the parents cannot be always with the child, and so that way it is difficult. Like government cannot satisfy all people, may be able to satisfy only few people. Yeah, so that way there is always limitation. But with Krishna, it is not there. Like that's why Krishna is called that if one depends on Krishna, then one can be peaceful. Like Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Yeah. Because Krishna is the possessor of everything and is the controller also of everything. So he can make one completely happy. Otherwise, the parents cannot actually control the body of the child. So if the child becomes sick, they cannot again make the child healthy, because they are not the controller of the body of the child. So but Krishna is the ultimate controller. So he can make everyone happy. Like even if the child wants, let's say something, wants to go to America, but because the parents don't have that much money, so the parents cannot afford it. But Krishna is Lakshmi Pati, like he everything belongs to him. So whatever the desires of the living entity are there, Krishna can fulfill. So Krishna does not have any limitation with respect to being the supreme father and supreme lover. And Krishna can simultaneously fulfill the desires of all living entities in whatever way they want. But if you take a family, like the parents cannot pay attention, same attention to every child. So we also see in the case of Chitraketu, where because of not able to pay attention to the child, to each to all the queens. So the queens become envious and they kill the Harsha. But it is not the problem with Krishna. So it is described in Bhagavatam when Krishna is entering Dwaraka, like he's reciprocating simultaneously with all different people. The various groups of people in the arena regarded Krishna in different ways. When he entered it with his elder brother, the Vrizzlers saw Krishna as a lightning bolt, the men of Mathura as the best of males, the women as Cupid in person, the cowherd men as their relative, the impious rulers as a chastiser, his parents as their child, the king of the Bozas as death, the unintelligent as the Supreme Lord's universal form, the yogis as the absolute truth, and the Vrishnis as their supreme worshipable deity. So in that way, Krishna simultaneously reciprocated with everyone. So Krishna can love everyone and can make everyone feel loved simultaneously. So that is the thing with Krishna. So as Dhruv Maharaj also says that when he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruv Maharaj said, "Oh my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons, and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I don't wish to ask any benediction from you." Yeah. So even though Krishna is loving others also simultaneously, but Krishna can give complete love to everyone. So that way Krishna can completely satisfy everyone. Okay. So we have discussed this first verse. Any questions on this? What we discussed? Okay, if anyone doesn't have any questions, maybe we'll just look at the overview of the Ishopanishad, and in the next class we'll take the first verse. I think we are doing quite fast. Yeah. Okay, so the word Isha refers to the personality of Godhead. Maybe that is one of the reasons why Prabhupada translated it, because it points to the personal feature of the Lord, especially the last 4 or 5 shlokas. There are prayers to the personal form of God. So that way. So in this Ishopanishad, the flow, the first 3 verses, they talk about acting in the world according to Ishavasya principle. The first shloka tells about what is Ishavasya principle. The second shloka tells about the benefits. Third tells about the consequences if one does not follow. Then the fourth and fifth talks about the qualities of absolute truth, how the contradictory qualities are there in the absolute truth. As we saw just now in the definition of absolute truth by Jiva Goswami. Then in 6th to 7th verses, there are qualities of a realized seeker of absolute truth, like what qualities one should have to seek absolute truth. Then the 8th, there is a description of the personality of absolute truth, Ashna, Vinam, like different qualities. Then 9th to 11th, there are shlokas which tell what is knowledge and what is nescience. So now one knows who is absolute truth. So one needs the knowledge of absolute truth. So then there is explanation of what is the right knowledge, what is the means to seek the right knowledge, and what is wrong knowledge, all that. And then now one knows also knowledge, but one has to apply the knowledge. So one needs a process. So the proper process to apply the knowledge, which is in one sense religion. So then 12 to 14 tells what is the right religion and what is the wrong religion. Dharma means the 9th to 11th shlokas talk about Vidya, and the 12 to 14 shlokas talk about dharma. So which is dharma and which is adharma. Of course, here the word sambhuti is used, but yeah, it's like that. And then there are in 15 to 16 shloka, there are prayers to the Lord in general and to the personal form of the Lord. And 17 to 18 talks about prayers to the form of the Lord at the time of death, at the time of passing away. So what the devotee talk, praise to the Lord. Yeah. So here directly, like in Bhagavatam and all, directly the words Krishna and all does not come, but they refer to the absolute truth. They means it can be Brahman, Paramatma and all, but in the last shlokas it will refer to Bhagavan form especially. Okay. So I think maybe we can, should we discuss it now? Yeah, we will discuss the first shloka in the next class because I thought only one shloka I'll be able to complete, but yeah. And yeah, next Saturday, no, I'm traveling, so I'll be out of station, so I will not have class next Saturday. We'll have again class on next Sunday. Okay, so okay, if there are no questions, then we can leave. Okay, so thank you very much. Shri Ishopanishad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarabhyasya Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you.